How's about a little drink, Mr. Scram?
Don't mind if I do, Mr. Skim. But it appears we're a wee bit low on the liquid.
Any food to go with no liquid?
Well, what do you know? The exact same amount. But I think I see someone with the wherewithal for a few victuals and a goblet or two.
Why, so do I, Mr. Scram. Do you want to do the honours?
He doesn't appear to be very prosperous, but I'll let you take the cream off his top.
Very well, I'll skim, Scram. You better get out of here until I need you.
I'll scram, Skim. You want to use the wine cellar game?
The very one. Wine, tasty wine, best wine ever tasted by mortals. Beautiful wine, goes great with women in song. Delicious wine, no wine makes a man more brave. No wine charms a woman more. Free samples.
I'll have one.
Why, certainly, sir. What would you like? I've got some delightful Burgundy, or perhaps some Moselle or Muscatel.
All in that bottle?
Certainly not. There's nothing at all in this bottle. The wine is in here. May I have some water? Hold this. This, sir, is instant wine. Dry wine, if you will. Or if you won't. Makes no difference. Works just the same. Just a pinch of this instant muscatel. Just look at that body. Why, I haven't seen a body like that since Lady Godiva. There's the instant wine, right in there. You are a connoisseur of fine wine, sir. I wouldn't want to waste this on someone who just swills it down like water. You do have a palate. Fine looking palate. Old Ginkgo has one just like it. Anyone who tastes this wine will agree that it's the finest of wines. To some, it may look and taste just like water. But to someone of discrimination and intelligence, someone who really appreciates fine wine, this is the best stuff served south of Valhalla. If you really know fine wine, you're going to love this. What a bouquet. The finest product of the finest vineyards trampled by virgins' feet. Are you a connoisseur of fine wine, sir?
I certainly am. What have you there?
The best wine you've ever tasted.
I must warn you, sir. I usually drink Chateau Le Fleur 54. It's made by monks who were so enchanted by their own product, the whole vineyard had to be exorcised.
This is superior to Chateau La Fleur of 1654.
The 1654 vintage was slop. I drink the 1554.
An excellent year for wine. If not for the monks, just waft this past your nose.
A veritable potpourri of delectable aromas, monsieur. May I?
Certainly.
Why, this is delicious. It's, let me think. Yes, it's muscatel, made from the very best musk, too. Are you selling this?
I suppose I could.
I'll give you 5 pieces of gold.
Only 5 for this wine.
5 very large pieces of gold.
You insult me.
10 pieces. I must have this wine.
You tried to rob me.
20 pieces, not a bit more. 25? That's all I have. Please, good sir, this is the only wine that can make the proper impression on a certain fair maiden, if you know what I mean. You're a man of the world. 1 drip of this and she'll swoon. Please.
Very well. 25 pieces of gold. And the best of luck to you. Of course, with that wine, you won't be needing luck.
I'll remember you in my prayers, especially in the morning, if you know what I mean.
My, that seems to be good stuff.
Do you have another bottle? Too bad. Maybe another time.
But perhaps I could buy one of those envelopes. I market for them. You do have more, don't you?
Oh, I have several, but they're my stock in trade. You don't want to put me out of business, do you?
At your price, that's doubtful, but perhaps I could just buy the envelope of Muscatel. Does it have some sort of effect on the ladies?
It transforms them into palpitating puddles of passion.
All I have is 50 gold pieces.
That's a start. I'll need another 100 for this envelope, but I'll take your credit. Do you have any food? Oh, that's something. And now, the money. There you go, sir. The powder is very fine and light. In fact, only someone of the most discriminating taste can see or feel it. But there's enough in there to produce a dozen barrels of wine. Remember, 1 pinch per bottle. No more, no less. Yes, that's a standard size thumb. May I ask if you can read?
Sir, books are instruments of the devil.
Everyone knows that, but can you read?
No, but I can figure. That's all that's necessary.
Very sensible. My card, sir. I will deduct 1 gold piece from the bill for this delicious bread. You may pay the remaining 99 pieces of gold at my place of business, the nearest town in that direction. That's my card, the jocular jester. Can't miss it.
Over there, you said.
Absolutely. Are you sure you won't forget? That's where I'm going now.
Would sometimes next week be alright?
No worries. I'm a trusting man. After all, you'll make 1,000 gold pieces with that wine. See you then.
Most assuredly.
We've got the word by the tail on a downhill pull. All we have to do is give people what they want for a price. You want happiness? 10 pounds of happiness.
10 pounds, coming right up, ready in 5 minutes.
Beauty, brains, popularity, power, we'll sell it. We want to make you happy.
We want to give you what you want.
Everybody has a little daydream. Wants a little something to make his hopes come true. Maybe beauty, maybe gold,
Maybe never to grow old.
just tell us what it is and we will give it to you. Give you honey, give you milk, and the world wrapped up in silk. We're gonna give you diamonds, give you pearls. Once we've gone from dukes and earls, we're gonna make you happy, give you what you want. You're the only one I ever wanted. I'll do anything I can to bring you joy. We really are the good guys.
But we tell a lot of lies.
We'll dazzle you with our ingenious schemes and ploys. Make you happy once or twice, just as long as you pay a price. We're gonna make us happy with your goods. We're the modern Robin Hoods. We're gonna make you happy.
Wanna be nice
Gonna make you happy.
for a price.
Wanna make you happy. Give you what you want. Anything you want us to. That is what we'll give to you. From you and you for us.
Make way for the Emperor!
Aren't you going to admire the Emperor's new clothes?
Pretty fancy, Your Emperorship.
Fancy? They're magnificent. I spent 50 pieces of gold on just my underwear, and it doesn't show!
I'm sure if we saw it, we'd admire it.
Please, Your Highness, if the royal peacock saw your underwear, they'd fade away in envy. I am, without doubt, the most beautifully dressed person within the four corners of the earth. And if anyone dares to disagree with my opinion, I'll have them thrown over the edge of it.
We wouldn't dare think otherwise, Your Highness.
I admit my face and form may not be perfect.
They are.
But when I'm dressed in my finery, I am overwhelmingly cute. And everyone must agree with that opinion. Don't you agree?
Oh, we do.
We do.
It goes without saying. Say it anyway. You know how I love to hear it. Your Highness, you are surpassingly cute. Don't you see the sun is shining through the leaves of the under tree? The sun is smiling in his joy because it... Dogs say how their praise and cats meow whenever I appear, and even pine trees send attention at his military gear. And every person in my view, from lord to lowly clerk, is proud to say that he's a paragon of nature's handiwork.
He's the cutest thing on God's green earth, and he shows it off for all his worth. There's no cuter thing than he, his most splendid majesty, his most splendid majesty.
Most resplendent thing in all creation. Absolutely.
Positively.
Almost.
Mind your manners. You'd better agree that I'm the most beautifully beautifully dressed person in the world. The last one he didn't was his predecessor. God rest his misguided soul.
Honesty forces me, Your Highness, to admit that there was one person more splendidly dressed than your own magnificent self. Fortunately, he has since died of a surfeit of pleasure.
And who was this man?
The Emperor of Caraway.
The name sounds familiar, but I can't place the emperor.
Isn't surprising, Your Highness. You see, he decreed that no word of him will be spoken outside of his kingdom, for fear that other emperors would try to kill him.
Oh yes, that Emperor of Caraway. But what about his clothing?
Oh, it is a sad story. His clothing was made by the two most talented tailors in all the universe. He was afraid that someone would kidnap them and make them produce the same splendid clothing he wore. The tailors were tortured. Their eyes were put out so they could never again see to make cloth. Their tongues were pulled out by the woof so they could never tell anyone how to make such fabulous clothing. They were banished from the Empire of Caraway, and they wandered over the world until they met a magician. This magician said a few spells and replaced their eyes with some he cut from a potato. Then he transplanted wagon tongues into the mouths, and they were able to again speak.
Excuse us, Your Highness. I've had my head all my life, and I don't know what I would do without it. Do you have some sort of scheme?
Have you noticed how the Emperor is so proud of his clothing? Just stick by me. We'll come out of this with a couple pots of gold.
And our heads, I hope.
You were just saying that there is no one living who dresses as splendidly as I. But the Emperor of whatever it was more splendid. Why, that's treason!
But you see, Your Highness, no one could have dressed as well as he, because no one else had the tailors who could make the most beautiful cloth in the world.
Oh, that beautiful?
It was iridescently colorful as 7 rainbows. with hues never seen before by men or gods. It shimmered like moonlight, glowed like sunlight, and flowed as gracefully as a mountain stream.
It does sound beautiful.
Ecstatically so. And what's more, it was magic.
It was?
The Emperor of Caraway used his clothing to improve his government.
Why, naturally, the peasants would be proud of such a splendid fellow, bound to be good for morale.
Oh, that too. But you see, Your Highness, this cloth was invisible to anyone who was either too stupid or unfit for their position.
That would make a difference in the way one conducts royal affairs. Why, I could use that to test the quality of my ministers and advisors. If any of them couldn't see the cloth, then I would either have them removed from office or life, depending on our imperial whimsy. And as for my princes and satraps, I would certainly want to know if any of them were stupid. Those are the ones I'd keep.
The Emperor of Caraway eliminated 2 generals
A minister.
and 3 wives by discovering they were stupid or unfit.
And that was only on the first day he wore the clothing.
Have you actually seen this cloth?
With my very own eyes, and I must say, they see very well for eyes which were once in a potato.
And we speak very well with tongues that were once attached to wagons.
You fool! You've given us away! Everyone will know our secret!
You've got a secret? What is it?
We dare not tell, Your Highness. Our very lives could be in danger if we did.
They may very well be in danger if you don't. Besides being very cute, I'm very curious. Let's see now. Eyes from potatoes and tongues from wagons.
Is it earth, fire, wind, or water?
That's rather difficult to answer.
Is it bigger than a bread box? You say that you have eyes from potatoes and tongues from wagons. Very strange. The only other people I ever heard of with those very same organs are the 2 magical tailors. What a strange coincidence! You are the 2 tailors!
Our secret is out!
Oh, woe is we!
That's us.
That's right, that's us.
Exactly what I was going to say. Can you make me some beautiful clothing?
Alas, we vowed never to do it again.
But you could if you wanted to.
We could never afford the gold or silver thread we would need.
I could buy that.
Even so, we couldn't. We could never bring such a torment of happiness to another person again, not even an emperor. We are capable of making the finest suit of clothing in the world, but we won't. Not for anyone.
We'll see about that. As emperor, I'd order you to make me such a suit.
Sorry, but we are simply roving former tailors and former residents of the Empire of Caraway, and not subjects to your highness.
If you don't make me the finest suit of clothing in the world, I'll have your heads cut off.
Bring on the headsmen! That's the spot, right there!
You may be willing to lose your heads, but you might not be so happy to lose some other appendages.
Perhaps we might reconsider.
Never! We must keep our vow to never make such clothing again. Besides, remember we've already had our eyes and tongues replaced. That magician we know is a wizard at organ transplants. You know, we've nothing to lose and perhaps a lot to gain. Maybe the replacements will be better than the originals.
I think you 2 are charlatans.
You don't believe we have transplanted eyes and tongues.
Oh, that part's perfectly believable. But I don't think you can make such cloth.
Would I lie to you? Of course we could.
I'll bet you couldn't.
Your Highness, that is a bet we will never make. Not even if our honor were at stake.
If you don't make me, I'll bet a pot of gold against your heads.
That sounds like a pretty good bet. After all, a pot of gold is worth a lot, whereas our heads, if no longer attached, are worthless to both him and us.
But we vowed never to do it again.
If you don't make me the finest suit of clothing in the world, I'll die of disappointment. Wouldn't you want that on your conscience?
Perhaps it could be an act of kindness, since you put it that way. way, we might reconsider.
Please, you must. A pot of gold. 2 pots.
Tea or stew?
That would depend on the quality of the clothing. Minister, set up a loom for these men.
Of course, our expenses will be high.
They may be unlimited. Colors never seen before, you say?
Well, not only the basic red,
Blue,
green, but also Werkel
glebe,
and Fleer.
I've never heard of those colors.
You've never seen them before either. Fleer, for instance, is a sort of pale...
fleeble.
Right, a mix between Fleeble and... It just can't be described, it must be seen.
What sort of design do you plan for my ensemble?
Oh, perhaps a flowing robe and a blouse with puffy sleeves. What say you? Leg of mutton would be appropriate.
Too large. Like a lamb sleeves would be better.
My partner is the final arbiter of good taste. Leg of lamb sleeves it is then. Permit me, Your Highness? Make a note of this. Sleeve, 3 feet. Waist, 3 feet.
3 feet, 3 feet, that's 6 feet.
Right.
You plan to sew my sleeves around my waist?
At this point, we must measure the amount of cloth needed, not the amount of customer on hand. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. 4 feet.
That makes 10 feet, plus 2 cuffs.
2 feet for the cuffs.
What sort of patterns?
Designs, style, patterns to match the colours. Never before seen by mortal eyes, with thread so fine it would shame a spider.
Oh, it sounds delightful.
I see our equipment is ready. Now don't you worry about a thing, Your Highness. Of course, you do understand that this can't be done right away. It'll take some time.
What sort of material do you plan to use? Wool itches the royal skin.
Wool. We laugh at wool.
Ha!
Your clothing will be made with the rarest of fabrics. Unicorn yarn,
Tiger fiber.
gibbon ribbon.
Dragon hair.
Dragons have no hat.
Have you ever seen a dragon? Dragons do have hair, I assure you. But dragon hair is very rare because dragons get very angry when one goes looking for it. Now, if you'll excuse us, we'll get right to work.
22-carat thread. Not bad.
Let's get to it. Probably expect that long-nosed minister around any minute to start snooping around.
How do you suppose those tailors are coming along?
Your Majesty should be careful of those too. We must be sure that the clothing is as beautiful and magical as we expect.
They did say they'd need some gold for the materials. You'd better go see how they're doing. Don't worry about expense money. Give them anything they need. The peasants won't mind paying once they see how beautiful I look. After all, that's what peasants are for.
Right, Your Highness.
May I ask what you're making?
No.
What are you making?
Isn't it obvious? If you have to ask, I wonder if there's something wrong with you.
What are you doing?
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps his eyes are bad. Or he's never seen this article of clothing before.
He's never seen a collar. Well, maybe not in this design. You do have some gold for the materials, don't you? 2 bags will do nicely.
Right here. Will this be enough?
Absolutely. It'll do for today. We'll need 2 more bags tomorrow. I found a wonderful sale on hoppy hair. How do you like it?
Fine, just fine. It's a beautiful collar.
He's working on the collar. I'm working on the cuffs.
It's a natural mistake. After all, a cuff is, in a way, a small collar.
Quite right. I probably thought you were working on one half of the collar.
Perhaps.
Perhaps not.
We'll see.
At least, I certainly hope you see. I don't think the Emperor would be happy if you didn't.
Quite so. Well, I'll give the Emperor a report on the night's progress, Your Majesty.
I think things are going quite well.
I really must see the royal optician. How's the work coming along? Fine, just fine. They're working on the cuffs and collar, or rather, should I say, the collar and cuffs. Which is it? Probably both. What sort of style? The style is indescribable. What sort of material? Very exotic, and rather hard to define. But you did see what they're making. Absolutely. They should be weaving the cloth, too, shouldn't they? Certainly, Your Highness, but they say they need more gold. Very well. It's expensive to get good clothing these days. Now, I want you to inspect their work very carefully and give me an exact report on the pattern of the design, the weave of the cloth, and the types of fabrics used. Of course, Your Highness. I shall now go and change for my fitting.
Good afternoon, Minister. I trust you brought some more gold.
The Emperor says to give you whatever you need.
This is very necessary to get the materials. Why don't you step over here and admire the material we're weaving? What do you think of the design?
Very pretty. What is it?
You don't recognize a flower?
Of course, I recognize a flower.
Are you saying it doesn't look like a flower? Are you impugning my artistic ability? When I weave a flower, it looks like a flower.
To be sure.
Just feel this material. Feel how soft and light it is.
Oh, very light. The light is to be sure.
Be careful! It'll float away.
I've never seen such light material. Yes, of course, seen and felt. And the design, such lovely shirt cuffs.
Shirt cuffs? Did you make shirt cuffs?
I distinctly saw you working on cuffs.
Hans cuffs. What do you think? The Emperor has wrists the size of watermelons?
Of course not. But I naturally assumed the design would be rather flowing.
Oh, it is, as you can see.
Oh, yes. It's a beautiful shirt. Or would you call that a blouse?
Never seen pants before?
Oh. Well, I see where I was mistaken. I was wondering where the collar was.
What do you think this was? A belt?
It's a rather strange design.
It's the same one you saw him working on before.
Yes, I was wondering where I'd recognize it.
Don't bruise the material, please, merciful heavens. You've gone knocked off a button. I'll have to repair it immediately.
I'm terribly sorry.
No real harm done, it was only basted on.
Well, I'll give the Emperor an excellent report on the work you're doing.
Please do.
I couldn't feel the cloth. Does that mean I'm unfit for my position? I couldn't see the cloth. Does that mean I'm stupid? Wonder where the Emperor is. Ah! Your Highness, I've seen the work the tailors are doing. It's very nice. Nice? For what I'm paying, it should be exquisite. Oh, it is, it is. At least I think it's exquisite. But my idea of beauty might be different than your idea of beauty. Now I'm beginning to get worried. I've seen your wife. Ah, I did not choose my wife for her beauty, obviously. Tell me, what's the design like? Something like this. I'm sure it will fit very well. And the pattern? Likewise, definitely likewise. And the material? Quite similar. In fact, you could say approximately equal. Your Highness, it would take a poet to adequately describe the clothing. I think I shall have to see for myself. Perhaps that would be best. I would be very interested in knowing what you see. Then come along. I want to make sure you can see what I see.
Good afternoon, Your Highness. Just in time for the final fitting. How do you like the blouse?
Very nice.
How do you like the design?
Very beautiful. Interesting colors.
I suppose to some, grey is interesting.
But I've seen gray. The other colors?
No doubt you didn't recognize him. See this Wurple? And this here, just the slightest touch of Fleeble.
Ah, so that's Fleeble.
What do you think of the design?
It's rather abstract, isn't it?
Certainly not.
To me, it looks exactly like a flower.
A flower? Since when does a lion look like a flower?
The flower is on the other side.
Ah, yes.
Let's see how it fits.
Is it finished?
Doesn't it look finished?
Well, I thought it might be more elaborate.
I think it's exactly elaborate enough. Right, Scram?
One bit more of elaboration, and it would be insufferably ostentatious. Isn't he going to try on the underclothing?
His Highness should become used to the extravagant finery of this magical clothing before trying on the underclothing. And besides, Your Majesty's unclothed body would make me insanely jealous.
You certainly wouldn't want that.
I certainly wouldn't.
Let's see how it fits.
Very nice fit.
Excellent fit.
The collar is perfect, and so are the sleeves. The pattern's delightful, and so is the weave.
It's the best clothing we could ever conceive. The best that two tailors could ever achieve.
The most elegant clothes in the world, I believe.
The finest that your Highness's very fine eyes can perceive.
Oh, very nice. Don't you think? Beautiful. I think I shall go for a stroll and see how it fits while walking. It's very light, isn't it? I noticed that too.
As light as day. If you couldn't see or feel the cloth, you'd think you're wearing nothing at all.
How can this be? The tailors see my clothing. The minister sees my clothing. Can I be unfit for my position? Am I stupid? Why, if my enemies find out, my head will roll in the streets like a 10-pin ball. However, if no one knows that I can't see my own clothing, I'm safe. Ah, you look splendid, Your Highness. Naturally. Are you ready to show off your new clothing to your entire empire? Does it look like I'm ready? You always looked well turned out to me, Your Highness. But perhaps we should ask the tailors if they think you're ready.
Looks beautiful to me.
Loose rein. Now you are ready.
Your Highness, there's the little matter of our payment. 2 pots of gold. Of course, providing that you agree with us that the clothing is of incomparable quality.
Yes, I understand. You could say that this clothing could be compared to nothing. Minister, the pot of gold.
Steel pots, remember? Permit me to adjust the train.
Fleer goes so well with your complexion.
And don't you agree that this touch of Wurple on your cuff gives it a sort of attractive, semi-matching contrast?
I suppose so.
And glebe is perfect for the little bow here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, sir.
A fitting payment for the most beautiful clothing in this world or any other.
Our blessings go with you, Your Highness.
You may carry my train.
Well, we skim, Scram.
So let's scram, Skim.
but there's nothing wrong with my eyes. Not only is the Emperor not wearing any clothes, but his underwear sags in all the wrong places. Quiet! Do you want everybody to think you're as stupid as I am? I haven't seen any clothes on him either. The Emperor isn't wearing any clothes! Please, Your Highness, forgive the child. She doesn't mean to say that you're naked. Obvious that you're not naked. It's just that you aren't wearing any clothes, as any sensible person can plainly see.
Peasant, if you can't see my clothing, you must be either stupid or unfit for your office.
My office? It's all right, dear. We know the Emperor isn't wearing any clothes, but he thinks he is. Oh, yeah!